Oh, yeah. Tennessee takes care of business. They bounce back from, for lack of a better term, a debacle earlier in the week. But, we kind of wondered, was that the exception? Was that the norm? Was that an outlier? Yeah. You get a win on the road in the SEC, it's a pretty big deal. Tennessee bounces back tonight 74-70. We're live. He's Carey. This is Frank. Let's rock and roll, Carey. What's your opening thoughts on this game tonight?
Overall, just a great game. I mean, I mentioned it on the show after we lost to Florida that this was a huge game for us because we had to bounce back. It was a road game that you had to win just because you're not going to win a lot of road games in the SEC this season. So if you get a team that's not necessarily the greatest at their place, it's nice to steal one for the resume. And Tennessee did that tonight. They matched exactly what Auburn did just this past Tuesday night of going into Austin, Texas and getting a huge win. Going into this game, it was kind of like Tennessee's just could melt down. It looked like things could have possibly fallen apart considering we just had a historically awful shooting performance against Florida. Texas loses last night to Ohio State. It's like, does the universe give them a pity basketball win today against the number one team? I'm a big fan in sports of not being heartless. Rip somebody's hearts out if you can. I saw plenty of football teams do that to Tennessee football before Josh Heupel got here. So I have no heart when it comes to other teams and other fan bases. So it was nice to see us control that game tonight and win essentially. And what was actually a horrendous crowd. I mean, there was no environment there from them. It was pitiful. Tons and tons and tons of empty seats. The crowd was never into it. The first half, honestly, I was like, this feels like it's non-conference game against Middle Tennessee State at their place where it's like the crowd's not into it. I don't know if they had a crowd mic, but I didn't hear really the crowd mic at all whenever they were outside after you make a bucket or something. So just overall, I mean, it's great just to nail the coffin into the University of Texas and prove that we're the real UT because the universe could have gave them a shot tonight. They could have gave them a little bit of grace, and thankfully for us, they didn't.
I thought their crowd was pathetic.
It was awful.
Because there was times I'm like you, I'm like, what's going on here? It's like we're I don't know. I've been to the freaking hell. I went to Sullivan Central High School. There was Sullivan Central, which is a middle school now. Sullivan Central High School crowds made more noise than what Texas made tonight. I taught in Elizabethton. You went to Elizabethton. There were Elizabethton high school crowds better than what Texas brought tonight. I mean, that was pathetic. I'm with you on everything you said tonight. I mean, it was a bad performance Tuesday night. This team bounced back tonight. I think there's a lot to talk about in this game. And I don't necessarily think this team played great tonight, but
it didn't.
If you look at the records of the teams in this conference, I'm taking any road win I get, whether it's by 1 point or greater, and I'm good with it.
Yeah.
And tonight was one of them.
What did they say? Didn't they say like if Texas starts out 1-4 or 0-5 in conference play, like they're still probably comfortably in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure they said in the first half. So I mean, any SEC road win is going to boost the resume tremendously because I mean that is a Texas team that does have a lot of potential if they could actually make a run. They got the Trey Johnson kid that seemed like everything he threw up went in tonight. They had the Pope kid that was good. They had the other guy that I can't remember his name, but he popped off for 30-something the other night, so he has potential. And then they had the Kendall Weaver kid on the bench, possibly the ugliest human being you've ever seen in your life. Thankfully, he had a groin injury, and we didn't have to see him tonight. I was really happy when I found out that news because I've seen him on the TV too much in the recent years that I just didn't want to have to see him again for another 40 minutes. So shout out that.
Well, and we can say that because I mean this is probably the best looking Vols YouTube channel by a long shot. I mean, Fabio's, Adonis's, nothing on us. So we can probably say that because we're that damn good looking on here. But let's hit some comments on here. D Hurt. What's up, D Hurt? Because I'll be the first to say it. Can't expect one player to carry the team every game. Whole team standing around waiting on Lear to win the game. I've got an interesting player of the game tonight. You may agree with me on it. But Backwoods, what's up, man? Backwoods and I were texting during the game. He said, I'm convinced there's a trap door that will open on the court and will drop Akpara to the center of the earth where he will remain for the remainder of his days.
I mean, he played a great game tonight. He's my player of the game.
He was not my player of the game, but and I don't say that lightly. I thought he played a great game too. I have another one for it. Tim Bradley, what's up, man? Dog fight tonight. Needs Ziegler, and he showed up. Yeah, he did. I think there's a little bit of there's some things I'm going to pick apart, but let's see. I think Ethan says I'm curious to see how far we'll drop. What do you think? How far does this team drop after this week?
I wouldn't say far. You're still at worst within the top 5. I don't think that they necessarily drop Tennessee too far. I mean, they still have one of the best non-conference wins in the nation with Illinois right now. And then you win tonight in Texas. You matched what Auburn did. So Auburn should have lost today to South Carolina because South Carolina had a chance and they blew it. So I don't see them necessarily dropping Tennessee too far. And Iowa State should have lost today as well. So
yeah, I think I'm kind of like Kyle here. I think 5, 6, maybe 7. I mean, I'm not that real concerned about the rankings, but I think the offensive performance was so bad on Tuesday it could warrant 7 or 8, but I don't know. I can't see dropping them too far on it. If Auburn would have lost, no, there's no way. I mean, especially after the media is all about Cooper Flag and Duke. Cooper Flag was like, what do you have, 42 today?
Yeah, he had 42.
Yeah,
I think Iowa State would have jumped up. Iowa State would have jumped up if Auburn would have lost today.
Yeah, Iowa State almost lost. Probably should have lost, but they did.
They were actually, I think Texas Tech was actually favored today. Yeah, Texas Tech was actually favored by 3 in that game. So Iowa State was actually the underdog. So good win for them, I guess.
Brad Lippard says, win is a win. He quit turning the damn ball over. My player of the game, Reese Winters. Reese is not talking about the punt over Squirrels White's head for 70 yards. He has read my mind. Darling Stone. There's my player of the game. Dubar. Feed Darling Stone Dubar. Give him minutes. Let him eat.
Yeah, I was confused. I was confused at the second half. Like, we started the second half, and I think it was right before he came in, and I was like, why is D Stone not in the game right now? And I was like, how many minutes does he have? Because I knew he played great minutes in the first half, and he had 5 minutes. Like, he'd only played 5 minutes compared to everybody else playing more than that. So I was like, why is he not in the game right now? Then he puts him in. He already showed in the first half that he's played meaningful minutes. He did exactly what you asked him to do in the second half, and essentially he pretty much went out and won the ball game for you. He made the shots, played defense, got some huge rebounds, and I think he made a free throw or 2 as well. So everything you asked for the man, he got it done. So hopefully we'll see more Dubar minutes in the future, which I think is something that has to be done as of right now.
17 minutes for him, not 12.6 boards.
That's good.
Good. Exactly. That's my player of the game tonight was Dubar. I thought he was I thought he played really good. I mean, he hit some threes. He had that monster dunk back.
Broke the backboard.
It's time to take the shackles off of Dubar and let him go. Because you have, looking back at last year, Chaz was the number one offensive efficient player in college basketball. Dubar was fifth. And I get there's been some personal issues. There's been all this stuff getting into. And, I think we underestimate the effect of personal issues on people along the way, and especially if it's family issues with Dubar. Now, he was big in the Illinois win. It's time for Rick to take the shackles off of Dubar and let him play. And I have a lot of thoughts tonight because you and I texted a little bit, some thoughts on the night. And with this offense, and they talked about them, they ranked. It was a pretty eye-opening stat for me. Tom Hart, Dane Bradshaw, who's a VFL, by the way, they talked about, what was it, Tennessee's average possession time ranks, what, in the 300s?
Yeah.
Was that right?
Like that. Yeah.
They're going down to, on average, about 13 seconds in the shot clock, if not more. And Dubar has an offensive game. And I don't know. We're going to get a little further into this. And there's a guy we talked about Tuesday night. And I remember asking you, who do you need to see more from? And you gave me an answer. And we're going to talk about that one because I still remember that one. You still remember who you said?
Yeah, I said Meshack.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm starting to think with Meshack, and I have gone to bat. I'm saying I think he could be a double-digit scorer. I'm starting to wonder if that's still the case with him. I feel like his role is starting to diminish along the way. And, we're going to go a little further into that as well. A lot of people, Kyle said Dubar plays best game of the year so far. Out of the Woods said Dubar coming out party, needs more minutes. I totally agree. Some of the shots they hit tonight, it's like tip of the cap. It is what it is. Out of the Woods is a North Raider. Neither one of us have middle school or high schools now. Central is a middle school. North is severe middle school now. Yep. I'll take any win on the road in SEC play right now. Absolutely. Hey, what's up, Rhonda? Good to see you. Go Big Orange. It was nice to get a win on the road. Yep. Absolutely agree. Ahmad, he's flexing in his picture. I don't blame him. If I had that body, I'd be flexing too. He's got just 3 oranges on that. JL, member channel, says, man, that was one sloppy game. Let's see what else we got here. Let me get caught up here a little bit. All right, I think we're good to go. Let's look at some stats here. We'll share. All right, here we go. Favorite portion of the post-game shows. Let's look at it. Split box. Chaz, 10 points, 34 minutes. Zakai, 16 points. He could probably be the player of the game. the 4 turnovers I'm holding against Igor was like, man, we did not see a lot of Igor tonight. Not sure of the deal on that one. Meshack, 6 points. Para, I really thought Para played a really good game. 7 points, 9 boards. That's what he's brought in to do. Dubar, 12 points, 6 boards. Gainey had 12 points tonight. He had a better shooting night than he has. And then Cade Phillips, 4 points, 4 boards. Pretty short rotation tonight out of this team.
Akpara also had the 3 or 4 blocks. So
yeah, we need to get into. Let me get into. Well, all right, I'm going to stop sharing here for a minute. I'm going to go back to it because my stats don't want to share.
Technical difficulties.
Yes, we're experiencing technical difficulties right now. What the hell's going on here? All right, well, try it again here. Who, we talked about Dubar. Who was your player of the game tonight? You've already said it, right?
Yeah.
You said Akpara, right?
Yeah.
What else stood out to you tonight?
I would say Z's leadership. I mean, it felt like that was on full display tonight. I mean, I get that they mentioned that a lot on the broadcast, but you could tell he was in control of the game, especially in the second half. I felt like he kind of took things over, realized if we were going to win the game, he was going to have to make some moves and do what he does and create some open shots for Tennessee, and that's essentially what he did. He made some shots himself, ended up getting some huge free throws for us as well at the end of the stretch. So overall, huge help from him. Took over the game like you ask your senior point guard to do, and he did just that. So, I mean, overall, he played a great game. Aside for that, I felt like something switched in me at the 9-minute mark where it was like, okay, Tennessee's kind of felt like they've been in a rhythm for the past minute or two. I was like, Tennessee, these next 9 minutes, we're going to play Tennessee basketball. We're going to get back on track for the first time in essentially over a week. And that's exactly what Tennessee did over the last 9 minutes. They played defensive basketball. Texas made some miracle shots. They also made a few free throws on some cheap fouls to keep things interesting. But overall, Tennessee dominated the last 8-9 minutes of the game, pulled away there at the end, and sealed the deal.
Yeah, I agree with that. Finally got some stuff pulled up here as well. Are there any concerns on your end with the offense?
I mean, it's easy to have concerns right now just because of the way we played on Tuesday night against Florida and then how we didn't necessarily jump off the stat sheet to start the game tonight. I don't think it's something to necessarily panic about. I think you'll find answers of more players to score. I think you kind of have learned that you can't totally lean on Chaz as of right now. He's not much of an inside threat. He's not a guy that's going to drive and get you a bucket like DK was, but DK and Chaz are two different players. Chaz is going to get hot and he'll make a lot of threes. He'll make more threes than DK necessarily did, but he's not a guy that's going to be running all over the court and driving to the basket and making some shots. I mean, Chaz, if he's going to the basket, he's probably pulling up and making a mid-range shot. So just a different player from him, and I think you've realized that you can't expect 20 points from him like you had gotten from him in the past. It's kind of you have to adapt the Illinois game plan the rest of the way, where it's like it's going to be a group effort. Whoever you get on any given night is just the guy you got to roll with. That tonight could have been Dubar. I mean, he had 12 points tonight, and he was kind of a guy you kind of leaned on to get some baskets at times, and he made some huge shots. It's just going to depend each game now. Some guy has to step up. We don't know who it is. It's nice to have a plethora of options like we do. It could be a guy like Igor, who essentially isn't getting talked about that much, but he has the potential to score 20 on any given night. So does Dubar, of course. Chaz does. Zakai can. Meshack, I don't think he can reach 20, but he can give you a solid game if you need him to. And you got some other guys that's going to step up. I mean, Akpara played tonight and last game, 2 great games, his 2 best games of the season. So he's a guy that's coming in, showing himself. His physicality is finally coming out. He's a totally different player right now, in my opinion, than he has been. I mean, he's dominating teams. He's dominated essentially Florida and then tonight Texas at times with just his physicality. And that was something we hadn't saw. We saw him get whipped around against Arkansas, even though we manhandled them. I just felt like he got whipped around. And it's felt like a lot of times this year that Akpar's gotten whipped around. And I don't know if the Rick Barnes talk to him worked or what, because he's been a totally different player the past 2 games.
Do you think here's mine? I think it's a pretty good point right here. Those rim shots.
Yeah.
I mean, how many we missed tonight? And they, I know Cade Phillips, one that specifically stood out to me. I don't know what the hell he was trying to do, if he's trying to lay it up or what. And they were like, well, it's obvious the shoulder was bothering him. It was an easy dunk on it. But I feel like that's been a common denominator for years. It's like, how do we miss all these layups and stuff? Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's I don't know. It's an offense that has looked pretty good most of the year. Illinois game, man. Florida game,
awful.
Tonight, up and down roller coaster. I think you made the comment that pretty much closes the book on it. Don't Connect was a different level than Chaz Lanier. And that's no disrespect to Chaz Lanier. Chaz Lanier's been awesome for Tennessee. Don't Connect, whole other level. It is what it is.
Yeah.
We can stop that debate at this point. But I'm glad you brought it up, too, because that's always one. They've both been phenomenal for Tennessee along the way. But to me, tonight, Tennessee did not play their best. 2 of their better wins of the season. That Illinois, you brought it up earlier. They did not play that well in that game, and they won it. And that Illinois team is very good. And then tonight, I think when it's all said and done, this Texas team is pretty good. That win, that score looks a lot better. Texas hit a lot of freaking crazy shots tonight. There were numerous times I'm like, that's good defense. And then they make the shot. There's sometimes, what do you do? What do you do on that? But Tennessee comes back, Georgia midweek? Is that right?
Yeah. They play them on Wednesday.
Yeah. Georgia, let me pull the schedule up here.
At Vandy. Then we have a 4-game gauntlet after that.
Yep. Georgia at home, at Vandy. Then it's Mississippi State at home, at Auburn. Of course, Broom got hurt today. I would bet it looked like probably just I think they identified it as an ankle sprain. I hope he gets better soon.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to see any guys get hurt. That sucks. I would bet he'll be good for that game. Kentucky at home and then Florida at home. Like you said, a 4-game gauntlet. This conference really feels like a gauntlet all the way around for the most part. What? Trying to look some comments here as well. Yeah, JL, member of the channel, says we've been poor at scoring at the rim for some time. Frustrating to watch not being able to score simple layups. I feel like that's been going on for years, though. I really do. There's so many times like, why are we missing so many layups?
That's one of those things to me that feels like something of you feel like your team struggles with that because you're a fan of that team and you watch every game. It is something that every team struggles with. If you watch every single college basketball game, each team's going to have a layup and they're going to miss it. It's just how the game goes. Um, so it's easy to blow that one out of proportion and feel like, okay, well, Tennessee's just always we've never been able to make layups. Well, I'm sure an Alabama fan says the same thing.
Yeah,
It's just we watch every single game. We
yeah,
remember the plays. We know the plays, and it's easy to say, well, this guy's missed 3 easy layups on the year. Well, if he's had 60 layup attempts, if he's only missed 3, at the end of the day in a game situation, that's still pretty good.
yeah.
So it's those are the easy shots. Of course, you would love to make them. You'd love for your team to not miss more than 2 or 3 a game of those. But at the same time, it's going to happen. You're going to have games like tonight where you do miss like 8 plus, which I'm pretty sure is what they missed, which that is inexcusable in itself. You got to keep that number as low as you possibly can because you're going to miss the easy shots. It's easy to do. You saw Cade Phillips tonight. He had an easy shot, jumped up. I don't know. It looked like to me it was just like his shoulder pain got in the way because he was trying to dunk it. He just couldn't get up there because his shoulder hindered him from doing that. Um, but at the same time, all you ask for on that play is just toss it in there. You're right under it. You're hurt. Just toss it in there. So, and there's a lot more examples, but I don't think it's something you have to harp on because every team unfortunately struggles with it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I want to highlight this because zero effort. I don't think this team at any point has shown zero effort. Even at Florida, Rick Barnes was not upset with their effort.
Mm-mm.
And I agree. What you and I talked about it. What was it? Held Florida to lower 70s in points. If you would have told me that ahead of time, I would have said, we're good.
Yeah.
We're good on this one. And this team has no problem with effort. No problem with effort along the way. And there's not any players I'm disappointed in. Have we set, is the bar so high based off of 14 games that we expect perfection out of everybody?
Yeah, I mean, I would say so. I mean, even myself tonight, I was sitting there in the first half and we were kind of struggling, and it felt like being in the pit of despair. And I was like, there's literally a number one next to our name. Like, I get we just got the crap knocked out of us at Florida, but we're still the number one team in the nation. We didn't earn that just by having the worst non conference schedule to ever exist. Tennessee earned that right. We have proved that we're a great team. It just, you hit conference play and you manhandle Arkansas to open things up. You go down to the swamp, lay the biggest of eggs, come out a little slow tonight, and it was understandable to kind of panic at that moment, considering you really did expect Tennessee to come out tonight and dominate early. Not necessarily the whole game, but you thought that Tennessee would definitely come out and take control of the game to start. And Tennessee didn't do that. So it kind of felt like the sky was falling when in reality it wasn't. You're still going to be a top 5 team come Monday, and you're still in a great position to win the conference, win the SEC tournament, and make a Final Four run, hopefully.
I'm with Fred on this one. I would like to see a lineup of there's an either or. I would like to see Dubar, Igor, Para together. With the combination, you could go Ziegler, Lanier, or you could go, since basically Gainey is the backup point guard. I think Gainey is better offensively than Ziegler, but Gainey cannot. I don't think he runs the show near as good as Ziegler, but I would like to see it, but because I think Dubar can play the 3, and they've primarily been playing him as a 4. along the way. I would like to see a little bit more out of that as well. I think this team, to me, I think a little bit as well. The good thing is you played your non-conference games. Really, Virginia on the what was it, Bahamas, Virginia. You struggled in the first half. You come out, blew them out the second half. Baylor, you whipped their asses from the get-go. Other than that, you had Illinois. Who was it? Middle Tennessee.
We also Louisville, second game of the year at their place.
Yeah, but they blew them out.
Yeah.
I mean, blew them out from the get-go. And you had Illinois. Who was it? The team, was it Middle Tennessee that shot the lights out?
Yeah.
First half, and Tennessee took care of business second half. I think with Tennessee, now you get into SEC play, you're playing at a whole other level. And I think you find out more about your team along the way. And I think you adjust because to me, this schedule, that's who you're going to have to do your thing against come March along the way. But, I'm still not in that stage of overreacting, thinking this guy sucks, that guy sucks, this team sucks, our offense sucks, blah, blah, blah. You're getting into better competition. How do you adjust? The good thing for us is we got a head coach who's he's got a little bit of experience along the way. So based on that, I think if we go through the lineup, and we'll see what you think. I think Ziegler, great wizard of the offense. Runs it well. Defense, great. Decision making, man. I think for the most part he's pretty good, but he has those games where he turns the ball over a little too much for me.
Yeah.
Shooting tonight, good. There's going to be nights it's not. Lanier, I think teams are going to zero in on him along the way. How does he adjust?
Yeah.
And Milicic, I kind of want to see another level out of him. I feel like he has another level to him. Akpara, he's been, to me, the best player in conference play so far. As far as, I don't need him. I would love to see him be able to step out and hit that 10-foot jumper.
Just once.
It's not his game, though. Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Who else? I'm trying to break everybody down. I'm going to let you see what you think on them. Meshack. I've defended his offensive game for a long time now. I'm starting to think he's a defender only because that first possession tonight, he drove in, wide open bucket, and I don't know what the hell that shot was he threw up. Maybe it's confidence. I don't know on it. I look at Gainey, roller coaster. We don't win the Illinois game without him. So he has the offensive potential. I'm just going as who I think. Boswell, yeah, we'll see. Phillips has those moments around the rim where he's like, yeah, this is what he's better than Tobe Awaka. And then there's nights where, and I know he's hurt right now as well. Dubar's got a lot more. I don't think the coaching staff is utilizing him enough for whatever the reasons are. So based on I basically broke down the top 9. What's your thoughts on them?
I would say Zakai, he's the face of this basketball program right now. he is what he is. I mean, he's the leader of this team. He's going to go underrated in the fact of he could do what he did tonight and score 16 points and still not get enough credit just because that's what you expect from him at this point. Um, Lanier, great shooter. Still would like to see more from him in SEC play, which I think we will. I still think he pops out for 30, 35 points once or twice in SEC play because it's definitely coming. Um, Meshack, I understand he's got the finger issue. I saw it wrapped up tonight. I think he had the ring finger and his pinky finger wrapped together on his left hand. So that I don't see that playing a role on the defensive end of things. Offensively, that does. I mean, shooting the ball, no matter what kind of shot it is, it's definitely plays a factor. So I'm still going to hold out on him, even though I would like to see more of him offensively. Para, great. I mean, he's been the past 2 games at least better than what I expected. He's my player of the game back to back games, so I'm not going to hit on him too much. Um, Igor, great rebounder. Tonight, he kind of got some minutes taken away from him just because he wasn't having the greatest night. And it is what it is. I mean, he's going to be a guy you lean on the entire season. You expect 10 points from him every game, and you expect him to be a force when it comes to rebounding the ball as well because he is a guy that has shown that he's a great rebounder. 18 rebounds, that's the most that a Rick Barnes player has had while he's been at Tennessee that Igor had against Arkansas. So Igor's a guy, in my opinion, one of my favorite players on the team. He has great potential. We'll see what he turns into the rest of this season. Dubar, I mean, dude may rip somebody's head off if we're not careful. He's got a lot of fire under him. I understand he's went through the personal stuff and some other issues, so it's coming with him. I think he's a guy that's may even be a starter by the end of the year. We don't know how that situation will unfold. He showed it tonight what he's capable of, and that's scoring a lot of points when you need him to. Cade Phillips, I mean, he's a blue collar guy, just gets out there gritty. He'll dive head first into a scruffle because that's just what he loves to do. So the kid plays with his heart on his shoulder, literally. Boswell, you ain't going to see any of him unless it's a blowout or something, or you just need some minutes. Kind of been disappointed with his play so far this season, but I'm not going to be too critical of him just because he is a freshman. And then Gainey, of course, you don't win the Illinois game without him. I'd like to see him be a little bit more consistent, especially on the defensive side of things. He's been kind of lost at times, but he's mainly out there just to shoot the ball and drive and kick out, kind of like what Sakai does. So overall, he's played pretty good. Overall, the team, in my opinion, great, fantastic. I mean, you're the number 1 team in the country, at least for another day. So nothing to be too negative about right now.
Yeah, I mean, you're 15-1 now. So I mean, there were people after Tuesday night coming. It's like, we suck, we're garbage, and it's like, let's take the percentage of the year. 14 games versus 1. I'll take the body over the outlier on this one. Hamilton says, how many beers you had tonight? Hellfire. Well, that's my choice. So, but this group, what are they, 15-1 now?
Yeah.
That's pretty good. And you destroyed Arkansas. You went on the road. You beat Texas. There's going to be nights. We discussed it last Saturday. We said, there's going to be some bad nights ahead in this conference. And I think everybody, based on the 14-0, is like, yep, this team's going to drill everybody. They're not. There's probably going to be another night or two where it's like, what just happened tonight as well. But this is a national championship caliber basketball team this year. And I think we can throw out, they're playing too many minutes at this point. Ball is ball. Players play. That's where we're at this point. These guys are going to play their minutes. the rest of the way. And it's not going to affect whether they go to the Final Four, whether they bow out in the first round or whatever. It's overrated. It's overdone. This is a good basketball team. Yeah, I mean, I think there's some – I don't think there's any team that is perfect that's out there. But Rick Barnes has continued to evolve. He's continued to build this basketball team. And, if teams want what I like tonight, well, if Texas was like fixated on stopping Chaz Lanier, well, we had other guys, Ziegler with 16, Dubar with 12, Gainey with 12. I think they can overcome that along the way as well. But Tennessee is one of the best teams in the nation. There's been at no point this year I've had a problem with their effort. I did not have a problem with the effort against Florida. They just could not shoot. Again, if you would have told me they held that Florida team, 70-some points, I would have said, we're good on that one. So Tennessee does return to the court Wednesday night against a Georgia team that beat Kentucky. Earlier in the week, they were playing, who was it, Oklahoma today?
Yeah, they're playing right now.
Is that game over?
Let me check. Yep, it is over. Georgia beat Oklahoma 72-62.
Oh,
Georgia. So that's back-to-back top 25 wins for Georgia. So they will be ranked come Monday.
interesting, because last I saw, Oklahoma was up on them. So
yeah, that game seemed to bounce back a lot. I think Georgia was up early. Oklahoma came back, took a little lead, and then it bounced back and forth after that. But it appears that Georgia pulled out late.
yeah, so Georgia comes to Knoxville Wednesday night. Vanderbilt next weekend. Then, like you mentioned earlier, kind of a gauntlet of Mississippi State in Knoxville, at Auburn, Kentucky, Florida, at home. There's really never going to be an easy stretch in this conference.
No.
There just isn't. It's
even, I was going to say, even Georgia on Wednesday night. I mean, that's a game last season that we had no business winning. We played awful that game, and Dalton Connect got hot late, and we ended up winning. I remember watching that game, and I was like, we do not deserve to win this game, yet we did. So they had our number last year. They just didn't pull out the win. They've won 2 top 25 games, and they're going to come into Knoxville trying to prove something. So Tennessee does have to show up. I'm actually a little bit concerned of how that game will play out, just considering how hot Georgia is right now and how Tennessee is just kind of floating above water after the Florida performance. And then hopefully they found something in the last 9 minutes tonight that they can take forward with them and get in the win. But right now, going into Wednesday night, I'm not going to confidently say Tennessee wins by 10 plus.
In SEC play, I'm kind of good with a win is a win.
Yeah.
I remember that game because that game was really kind of the first big viewership for this channel, because there was some dude for Georgia hit a shot, they went up, and he started dancing. And it was like, that just fired Tennessee up. And then Dalton Connect took over. Because I remember going into that video, I'm like, if you're going to dance, you better do it before you fire Dalton Connect up.
Was that the white guy with the ponytail?
No, it was somebody else. It was not Kane. What, Kane Blue?
Blue Kane, I'm pretty sure.
Blue Kane, that's his name. Hamilton for $2. Thanks, man. Really appreciate your generosity. Any super chats, any memberships, any Patreon, we're so appreciative of them. Thank you guys so much for it. Really appreciate that. Hamilton. General says I'm late. I'll go back catch up later. glad to see the Vols bounce back. But we're going to wrap up on this one. Wednesday night basketball will bring some basketball coverage. We're getting ready to discuss some baseball stuff here after we go off the air. And it's pretty exciting along the way, too. Your hub for baseball is right here. Your hub for basketball is right here. We're going to amp that up a little bit as well. Basically, whatever you need, it's here along the way. But he's Kerry, Frank. We're going to wrap up on this one. Thank you guys so much for your support. Make sure you hit that like, that share, that subscribe. This is the House of Orange, last but most certainly not least. Go Vols.